expired. Senator Sims.
Thank you, Acting Deputy President. This afternoon I rise to speak about an event I recently attended in my home state of South Australia, hosted by an organisation doing good work across our country, -18s, same-sex and gender-diverse formal. I attended this event in Adelaide on the 13th of November, and this was the first time that a same-sex and gender-diverse formal has been hosted in Adelaide, and it was attended by 120 lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender young people. Now, members of this place may be aware that similar events have been hosted in Victoria, but this was a first for South Australia, and I do hope that it is the first of many such events in SA in the future. I have to say, Mr. Acting Deputy President, I was very moved, very inspired by this event. It was a powerful thing to see so many young people out and proud and comfortable in their own skin, celebrating diversity at a really important social ritual like a formal. And school formals are all too often the source of anxiety for LGBTI young people. We still hear of schools preventing students from being able to bring same-sex partners to formals. We still hear of students being in fear of bringing a partner of the same sex to a school formal because they're in fear of the homophobia and bullying that they will experience. So this formal is an opportunity to do things differently and an opportunity for LGBTI young people to come together in a safe and inclusive environment, and that's a wonderful thing. Mr. Acting Deputy President, I do remember my own school formal. Of course, a lot has changed since then, although, alas, unfortunately, I still can't dance to save my life. But I do hope, I do wish that that something like that was in place when I was at school, because it was certainly a tremendous event. -18 is Australia's largest youth-led organisation for gay, lesbian, bisexual and transgender youth. It provides a range of important support and assistance to young LGBTI people. This includes mental health support and peer mentoring to thousands of people across the country, regular social events, dance events, online support which connects more than 5,000 same-sex attracted and gender-diverse young people, and then of course the formal that I mentioned earlier. And this is an organisation that is run by youth volunteers and receives some funding from the City of Melbourne, the Victorian Government's Office for Youth and the Victorian Department of Health. So a truly great initiative run by young people for young people. The event in Adelaide I had the privilege of speaking at was organised in collaboration with the Safe Schools Coalition, and this coalition is comprised of schools that have access to resources and support aimed at improving the inclusivity and safety for LGBTI young people at school, and it also has a component on combating homophobia and transphobia as well. There are almost 470 member schools in this country. More than 13,000 staff have been involved in this, and almost 330,000 students in the member schools. So this is a coalition that is having a wide reach. Mr. Acting Deputy President, this is very important work, and I've remarked before that homophobia and transphobia still persist in this country, and these things cause a lot of harm. And a way to combat that is by addressing this in our schools. And I read a really beautiful article on BuzzFeed by Lane Saintley, who talks to Margot, who's a nominee for the 2016 Young Australian of the Year Award and works with -18, and I quote from that article. Margot says, "For me, growing up, I had no one I could look up to. That sucked because I was like, okay, I can be open with who I am and what I am, but I probably won't be successful in my career. I'll probably lose a bunch of friends. My family might reject me. In hindsight, those weren't correct assumptions, but because there was no one I could relate to, that's the only thing I could believe. Being able to break that down for other people is huge." Mr. Acting Deputy President, I think Margot's words would resonate with many gay and lesbian and transgender people. And indeed, research done here in Australia, Writing Themselves in 3, found that 75% of the 3,000 same-sex attracted young people that were surveyed had experienced some form of homophobia, bullying or abuse. 75%. So this is a big problem for our country. So given the value of Minus 18's work and the work of the Safe Schools Coalition, you can imagine my horror when I saw that the Australian Christian Lobby has been advocating for the Safe Schools Coalition to be axed because apparently it's damaging to students. Apparently it teaches kids gay and lesbian techniques. That's a quote from the ACL in the Sydney Morning Herald. Now, Mr. Acting Deputy President, I am reluctant to give these kind of absurd views any more airtime, but I do believe that sunlight is the best disinfectant, and I do believe that the ACL should be held to account for the homophobia they fan within our community. They should be held to account for the brazen lies they tell and the misinformation that they spread. Now, despite their name, of course we know that the ACL don't represent Christians in this country. Indeed, a vast majority of Australian Christians reject their worldview. So they're completely unrepresentative. They're simply a fringe group, an extreme fringe group that promotes a worldview that is dangerous and divisive. Now, I guess I shouldn't be surprised that the ACL have taken aim at an organisation that seeks to combat bullying, given they promote sexism, homophobia and transphobia, the very currency of bullies. That's their stock and trade. That's the business model of the ACL. But let me address this suggestion that the Safe Schools Coalition somehow promotes homosexuality. I'm really intrigued by this idea that simply by talking about being gay or talking about difference, you're going to convert people, as if it's something that you can catch. Well, you know, I've spent my whole life being exposed to heterosexuality. Indeed, we live in a heteronormative society. In fact, it seems you can't turn on the TV or read a magazine without being exposed to images of rampant heterosexuality everywhere I look. You know, straight couples holding hands, straight couples getting married. You know, I was walking through the streets of Adelaide the other day, Mr. Acting Deputy President, and I saw a straight couple kissing in broad daylight, kissing on the side of the street. They're on a recruitment drive, you know. They're on a recruitment drive. I think they want to sign me up. They haven't had any luck yet. What an absolute nonsense this is. What a nonsense this is, but this is the kind of ridiculous logic that underpins the ACL's criticism here, and this is the kind of contribution they make to the national discourse. Now, you know, next they might come out with something that says that gay marriage is as damaging as smoking. Oh, wait a minute, they've made that claim. Wait, that's a comment they made back in 2012, a ridiculous, offensive contribution to the national debate, brazen lies and homophobia from the ACL. That's the contribution they make to the national debate, homophobia and transphobia. In a world that's rocked by poverty and injustice, one might ask why the ACL refused to use their resources to campaign and work on something that's actually meaningful. Something that might actually make a positive contribution. War, poverty, famine, climate change, social inequality, so much injustice in this world. If the ACL want to take on moral decay, maybe they should start there. Maybe they should look at those moral challenges rather than obsessing over the gay and lesbian and transgender community in this country. Mr. Acting Deputy President, the really reckless and divisive comments of the ACL, the reckless and divisive homophobia, the brazen lies and misinformation they spread, it's a complete and important reminder of the reason why the work of the Safe Schools Coalition is so important. It's a reminder of the reason why the work of Minus 18 is so important. Because for as long as there is prejudice and discrimination in this world, we do need good people to come together and try to bring about positive change. And I commend the volunteers of Minus 18 and Safe Schools Coalition for doing this really important work. I am tremendously proud of the young people that are doing this good work. I have no doubt that they're changing lives for the better in this country and making our country a more safe and inclusive place, and that's certainly a great thing. Thank you.